Okay, hi everyone. It's been quite a while since the last time I made a video to talk about the books that I've been reading. I'm trying to get back into that habit of finishing books, talking about them, reviewing them, thinking about them. I think this is a nice time to start again. So, hi everyone, and thank you for being here. So, in this video, I am going to talk about a book that I'm almost done with. Yeah, I have not finished it, but I will soon. It's just, when you get to that stage of reading a book and you're almost done and it got so good in the end, you're just afraid of finishing it and you don't know what to expect when it's over. That is what I'm feeling right now with this book. And so if you have seen my previous videos where I talk about this book here, The Birth of Tragedy, I got through it and then I got towards the end, and now I do not really want it to end. I'm not ready for it to end, if you know what I mean. So if you have read this book, please tell me what you think. Here, Nietzsche is a big fan of tragedies, and it was very nice to see his thoughts and his arguments on why the tragedy is an important form of art. And I feel this resonates with me so much, especially right now, because I just finished watching the movie Hamnet. I have not read the book, but it is on my Kindle, on my e-reader, and I haven't gotten around to reading it because I guess I was just too scared. But now, having watched the movie and then seeing the dynamics between the characters, I cannot wait to read it and actually dive into it even further, because it talks about William Shakespeare's tragedy, Hamlet. It will be a very good read, but I will get to it after I finish this one. More books that I have waiting are... It's still packaged because I want to open the packaging and make it yellow before even reading it. It's Dante's Divine Comedy, and yeah, I don't know, the mere size of this is quite threatening to me already, and I am afraid to see what I'm going to face reading this. But I will start it nonetheless. I just don't know when. And so I am planning to finish this book. I've already gotten to page 102 out of 118. And it is scary to me. I have about 10 pages left. And I'm just not ready. There's one quote that really stuck with me and made this book worthwhile. It was the quote that Nietzsche provided in the end. So there's this amazing quote that I got to towards the end, and it is so beautiful that I literally had to stop reading and think about it and write it down so that I could really get like the full grasp of it. I'm going to read that quote out now. Tragedy sits in sublime rapture amidst this abundance of life, suffering, and delight, listening to a far-off melancholy song which tells of the mothers of being, whose names are delusion, will, woe. Yes, my friends, join me in my faith in this Dionysiac life and the rebirth of tragedy. The age of Socratic men is past. Now dare to be tragic men, for you will be redeemed. You shall join the Dionysiac procession from India to Greece. Gird yourselves for a hard battle, but have faith in the miracles of your God. Tell me that is not one of the best quotes you have ever read or heard, because... So yeah, that was like a glimpse of my emotional journey reading this book. There were a few parts that I had to kind of struggle to get through because they talked about a lot of the history of music, Wagnerian music, They talked about the opera. Nietzsche wasn't a big fan of the opera while he was writing this for some reason. So he talked about the opera lessening the power that music had through lyrics, through the way they pronounced some of the words. And he was a much bigger fan of the tragedies from the Greek period. He also talked against forms of journalism during this time and how they really acted as a distraction towards the true meaning of art and the true meaning of music, how music acted as a connection towards the divine. And so it was a very interesting read overall. And again, from one aspect, I cannot wait to finish this and then see what I can gather from it as a whole. But on the other hand, I'm afraid of finishing it because I do not want this to be over. So this really fits in line with most of the media that I have been consuming at the moment. I have just finished watching the movie Hamnet, a tragedy, and I can see what Nietzsche means here. Being willing to having an open heart and then just putting yourself out there in the world to experience love and tragedy simultaneously. It is an act of courage, an act of bravery, and it surprisingly fits in really well with the quote that I have just read from Nietzsche's book here. This feels like a resounding message to me, a message that I can try to apply more for myself, about how as humans we should have a more open heart and be willing to put ourselves out there, to be less afraid and to be more courageous of experiencing and trying and going through with new things. And so yeah, I guess making this video is a part of that journey where I'm trying to express more of my thoughts about books and art forms that I have been indulging in lately. It's also good practice, I guess. So please do share if you would like to try similar things or already have tried similar things, consume certain media that you think might fit in well with this theme. Another thing that I think is really great, I actually even wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget to say it. Nietzsche really emphasizes the necessity of tragedy, and it is only through this way that you can get to experience the complete sublime of life, all of the aspects of life that are there to be offered. We oftentimes get distracted by, he refers to it as principium individuationis. I have no idea how it's pronounced. The main idea is that it is actually just the illusion of individuation. And so based on the book here, I'm going to have a look at the glossary very quickly. The principle of individuation. This is Schopenhauer's term for the way in which all our experience comes to us parceled up, especially including our awareness of ourselves. So this awareness of ourselves is completely fake. It is I wouldn't necessarily say fake, but it is real, but it is an illusion. It is therefore for him and for Nietzsche illusory, since reality is undifferentiated. It is our own perspective that creates this differentiated view, but in reality is the same for everyone, including all of its tragedies and everything else that it has to offer. So this was a really nice read. So yeah, well, thank you for listening to my book talks again. I really do hope to see you soon, and I cannot wait to talk about the future books. So I have a few books lined up: Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, and also The Divine Comedy. But again, I'm not sure when I'm going to finish this because this is a mammoth of a book. If you do have some tips on maybe pre-reading requirements that I could go through to get through this, that would be very helpful. I'm also thinking of, since I've already watched the movie Hamnet, I'm going to read the books soon, but we'll see which one we get to first. So that is all that I have to say about my current read. Almost done. So I will keep you updated on my next reads. Thank you so much for being here. Please do let me know what you think. If you have similar opinions or even different opinions, that would be really appreciated and fun to read through. Okay, so thank you and see you next time.